The Monday Morning Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Esther of IPA Group, bringing premier online promotion to your business.
And Melanie of Stomp Social Media Training, who empowers business owners to manage social media and marketing for themselves.
And welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today, well, I'm on my own, but Melanie's not here. I'm not technically on my own, but I am joined by Joeri Billast, a Web3CMO, podcast host, mastermind host, and author based in Belgium, but with an audience worldwide, especially coming onto our podcast here, even bigger audience now. Welcome, Joeri. How are you?
Hello, Esther. I'm doing well. It's a sunny day in Belgium, and I guess also where you are located. When I can come as a guest on a podcast, I'm always excited.
Yes, we do love our podcasting, don't we? So we're here today to talk about Web3, right? So this is a topic that a lot of people have asked us to cover, and it has taken us so long to find somebody that knows a lot about Web3. So this is why you're on today, Joeri, to tell us and our audience all about Web3. Let's start with, what was Web1 and Web2?
That's a great question. It's always actually how I explain Web3 by comparing it to Web1 and Web2. Now, Web1 was back in the time when the internet was new. What were we doing on the internet? We were only consuming content on the internet, reading articles, searching stuff. At that moment, it was one direction. And then Web2 came, and then the most obvious examples are the social media like Facebook. So instead of just reading, consuming content, we were also putting content on the internet. We were writing blogs, putting comments on social media, and so on. So there is a two-way direction. Now, the problem with Web2 is, and that now we are realizing this more than ever, that we don't own our data. It's those big centralized big tech companies like Facebook that own our data. And that's actually, now we realize that's a problem, because we are seeing these ads all the time. Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, if you have a Facebook page, Facebook can decide that they delete your page for one day on the other, and then you are left with a problem, of course. And also they can sell your data. So we are realizing that today. And so the promise of Web3 is that you own your data, that it is decentralized. So that's, in a nutshell, the difference between Web1, Web2, and Web3.
Okay, so that word decentralized can cause a bit of anxiety for some people. They sort of feel that it's an anarchist term. I mean, they're talking about, decentralizing currency, or, decentralized sort of seems like you're going against the grain.
Yeah, it's never black white either, because I think the ideal world is like we are now. It is more like a Web 2.5, where you have a good mixture of centralized and decentralized. But centralized, if you don't own your data, it can be a problem. Decentralized, of course, on the other side, people can feel a little bit uncomfortable, because if you have like cryptos on the blockchain, or you have stuff on the blockchain, it's transparent, it's secure, everyone can see this, but it's decentralized. It's not like if you have a problem with your bank, you can call your bank and ask, can you look, there is a problem with, and you have someone to talk to. Now, the blockchain doesn't have someone to talk to, because it's, you are responsible for your own data. So that can be a bit awkward for people. And therefore, that's also, what I'm trying to do, and others in the space, is to teach people, to help people, to educate people how they can use the blockchain, how they can use Web3 for their own benefits. And so my goal is to help entrepreneurs to have a safe space to learn how they can use it for their business and for themselves. But indeed, it's a difficult world, I would say. And maybe we should more focus on what it's the advantages, and not just on the words itself, because some terms can be very technical.
Speaking of technical words, blockchain. Is that synonymous with Web3, or is it in there with Web3 but not exactly the same? What are we talking when we say blockchain?
Yeah, for my definition for Web3 first is that it's an umbrella term for a lot of concepts like blockchain, like NFTs, like metaverse, like crypto. Now, the blockchain, to explain that, let's make it just easy. It's a chain of blocks, actually. That's what it is. It's a chain of blocks that you cannot change. So imagine that you write something on paper, but you cannot delete the paper anymore. You cannot delete the ink anymore because it's there forever. That's what the blockchain is. So it's like a stamp that you put somewhere, but the stamp is there forever. So that makes people feel like that it is secure, it's transparent, because everyone can see what is happening on the blockchain. So in the future,
but nobody can change it.
Nobody can change it. So imagine in the future, like, ownership certificates, for instance, for a building or for a house can be on the blockchain instead of having it on paper, because you cannot change it.
Okay, so in that way, it is better because there's no hacking, less hacking. Where are we in terms of people breaking in to steal your cryptos, to, add blocks onto your blockchain that you don't want to be there?
Yeah. So actually, as I said, it's transparent, it's secure, so people cannot change it once it is on the blockchain. But in terms of crypto, you hear also about scams that people lose their crypto or they buy, not the right coin. So the world has not changed in Web3. So there are scams in the Web2 world. There are, there is fraud. There is, also how many emails or SMSs that you get these days with, if you click on the wrong link, people can steal your money. Well, it is the same in Web3. If you just need to keep, think of what am I clicking on? Is it trustworthy? And so on. So you need to have the same, I would say, reflex in the Web3 world as in the Web2 world. So with coins and so on. So it's also with an access, of course. You have an access to your coins, like you have an access to your bank account. Only it's a bit in a different way. So in the Web3 world, you have also, I will call it a wallet address, which is actually your login, and you have a password, but you also have a seed phrase, which is more like a way to recover your account.
Okay.
And those things you need to keep for yourself. You need to keep for yourself. You should not share it to keep them safe. But the thing is, like I said, if you lose your password in the centralized world, there is probably a way to recover your password. You don't have this in the real Web3 world.
Okay, so going back to what you were saying, you are responsible for everything in Web3. Does that also mean that you have to find your own hosting for what you're putting on Web3? Do you need to have servers? Do you need, what do you need to have? What is the basic equipment or software, hardware that you need to set up on Web3?
Yeah, compare it a bit with the internet. Let me just say, you need a wallet. It all starts with a wallet address. Compare this to the Web2 world, where you have a website with your own domain name. For instance, mine is web3.net. And actually, this is not really the address itself. The address itself of your website is an IP address. But what you give to people is not that complex IP address. No. You give the domain name. Same thing in Web3. You have a wallet address, which is rather complex, but there exists a notion like a Web3 domain name, like I have cmostories.eth, Joeri.nft, which is something that is advisable to have that, so that you can give that to someone, and if they want to connect with you, they want to send you some crypto, or you want to connect to a site, and then we come to the answer of your question. The wallet address allows you to connect to this decentralized website, if you can call them like that. So you use your wallet address to log in to a website like that instead of your login and your username. So in the world today, we use Facebook, we use LinkedIn, we use other socials to log in on those sites itself, but also to log in on other websites. Now, in the Web3 world, you will log in everywhere with your wallet address. It will connect with your wallet address. So you need a wallet address, you need a wallet, and you need a software, if you can call it like that, or a hardware wallet. You need a way to connect with these sites. And I use MetaMask, which is a plugin on your browser, to make it not too complex, I hope. But you connect then your wallet address. So I use my utilise.nft to log in, to connect with my MetaMask to a decentralized site. And so today, some examples are like OpenSea, for instance, which is an eBay, but then, for NFTs, where you can, I need to connect with this eBay with my wallet address. And that is a way to where you can, for instance, do transactions. I have my own NFTs on Uncut.network, which is also a website that I'm using to do stuff with. I can build my own decentralized website if I want to, but it's not so, it's not, people cannot find it like that. It's not so easy to find it. You need to use the Brave browser and you need to know how to go there. But all of these things, Esther, are changing. The world in Web3 is changing so fast.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to date myself here, but I remember when, everyone started getting internet in their houses, and that was, not that long ago, guys. Web 2 then came along, was it less than 20 years ago? And so Web 3 is just building on that. But do you think that it's building on it faster and growing faster than Web 2 grew?
I think I see a lot of things happening. So more smaller companies that are growing and can, I don't know if there will be soon a new Facebook like we had in Web2, because they all are different initiative. People are building stuff. So I see that. So there is a lot of things happening. But at this moment, we call it a bit the bear market for crypto. This also has an impact on, I would say, the general, opinion or the general vision that people have on Web3. So for those companies, it's more difficult to get budget, to get, investors at the moment, but that will change, and then we will see again a bigger growth. So I see that there is a lot of evolution coming in the beginning years of, Web1 and Web2, we also saw that. I think maybe it goes even faster today because we also have something like AI, as you know, which is helping also these technological evolutions to go faster. So yes, I think it's faster, but it goes with, it's like the Gartner hype curve. So you see this hype, and then I see a lot of things happening in the next 12 months already, when I would say people will be more optimistic about Web3 when the bear market of crypto will be over.
Yeah. Okay. So how can Web3 be applied by small business owners?
Yeah, that's also a question I love to answer. We already said that Web3, it's an NFT or crypto, it's on the blockchain, it cannot be changed. But imagine, let's use some simpler terms. So an NFT, probably you heard the term already. Instead of using the word NFT, we can call it a collectible or a membership card, for instance, but not a membership card that people have, on paper, but they have on the blockchain. So imagine if you have a small fitness center, that instead of putting the membership card, as paper, putting it on the blockchain. Imagine that you have a shoe store, instead of, having people saving loyalty points, putting them on a card, putting them like with an NFT kind like of system. And then the beautiful thing with NFTs is, with those membership cards, is then people can, they can sell it or give it to other people. They can transfer it. Or you could decide, okay, the first 10 20, 100 people that became a member, I will do something special for them and I will give them something else. And you can do this easily because everything is on the blockchain.
It's interesting because, well, I'm sure all our listeners have heard about NFTs, but I associate them with art and monkeys in particular. If you know, you know. But to know now that you can use it for so many different things, like I'm just thinking in my own head, how many membership cards or club cards or, cards to go to the supermarket and the coffee shop and everything else that I have on my Apple Pay wallet or on your Google wallet or physically in your physical wallet and you're carrying around 20 cards, how much easier it would be just to have this decentralized wallet. I presume you can have it on your phone, on your watch, on...
Yeah. It will be like or you go to a concert, for instance, or to an event, or they just scan your wallet to see, do you have this NFT in your wallet and do you get in? And and you can. That's the beautiful thing with NFTs. Of course, there was the hype with art, so people were buying like monkeys and so on, and then everyone was just buying NFTs because it was the hype. Now I more look at it from a standpoint of utility, the benefits that you get. So, for instance, I have an NFT for Jopoliz's event in Cleveland. It's every year. I bought one time an NFT, and now he doesn't sell them anymore. But I can go every year now. They let me in because I have the NFT, and there are only a limited number of NFTs available. So it is worth the access to go to an event. And Joe can now decide to give more benefits to people holding the NFTs. So that's for me it's the utility, it's the benefits that you get. And if the art looks beautiful, okay, it's nice because people like us to show off with their wallet what NFTs do they have in their wallet. So
and where can you show those off?
Yeah, you can just browse like you can most are visible on OpenSea. If you have yourself a few NFTs, you can log into OpenSea, and then you will see that some of the NFTs are already publicly visible, other will be hidden. So then you will need to decide that you want to show them to others or that you want to hide them. But this is just, I will call it the website. The other that I'm using, uncut.network, will also show these NFTs. It will just browse the blockchain and show what is on the blockchain. And then you can decide what to show and or what not to show on those sites.
So it does come down to owning your own information that you have there. Like you said, you have a wallet, you have a password, but if you forget that password, then it's lights out.
No, you have you have always the seed phrase too. So therefore,
So it's like a two-factor authentication in a way.
No, it's more like that's also an option that I have. For instance, when I am logging into my Web3 domain names, which is on Unstoppable, I have an extra layer of security where I have a code like the two-factor authentication. That's on top of what I'm already using. But the seed phrase is more like a backup. If you forget your password, or if you want to, we talked about your mobile phone, you have your wallet on your computer, but you also want to have on your phone, then you can use the seed phrase to also install it on your phone. But the thing with those, you have different kinds of wallets. That's also interesting for people to understand. You have like a hot wallet, and you then have a warm wallet, and you have a cold wallet. And the biggest difference is that with a warm wallet, you don't need to bother about your seed phrase and so on, but you don't really own it. It's like, for instance, if you are on Binance.com, you have some crypto, you have a login and a password. It's really easy. It's a website, but it's also easier to hack. Or to make a mistake there, but it's more user-friendly. And then you have the other solution on the other side, which is a cold wallet, which is a hardware device where you have your crypto on a hardware device, and people cannot get to it because they need a hardware device. But you can lose the hardware device, of course. So you need to be. So that's the two sides of the story, I would say. Do you want to have want to have it easy access, or do you want to have it safe? And I think it's good to have a mix of those wallets. So if you have coins that you want to keep, you put them on a cold wallet. If there are accesses that you want, like I want to access to some websites, I want to have it in my MetaMask as a plugin on my browser. So just spread a bit in function of what you want to use the wallet for.
And does Web3 take up more memory or more space on your hard drive and on your computer to run, or is it similar to?
I don't have the feeling that Web3 on itself doesn't take like these wallets don't take so much space. It's lightweight, but another concept in Web3 are these virtual worlds, which is the metaverse, and you can use a wallet to access the metaverse. You can also use a login. I have my penthouse on the metaverse, which you can find on my.
Excuse me.
Actually, yeah, it's like a website, but that's a virtual world that you can access. And because of your question, does it take some of those virtual worlds? Of course, take more time to load because it's a virtual world. So that really depends on the setup of these worlds. But with my computer, I don't have any issues. And to add to that, you can use your computer, but you can also use a VR headset, which is built to access those virtual worlds.
Okay, well, I'm sure we could go into the metaverse, technically speaking, not physically. But I think that we could go on forever. We could talk about this for a long, long time. How can people learn more about Web3?
Well, how I did it was, as you know, I have my own podcast like you have. So I have in the beginning, it was called the CMO Stories podcast, and I call it the Web3CMO Stories podcast because I was inviting guests from that space on my show. Now, not all your listeners have their own podcasts, but a good alternative is to listen to podcasts. Like people listen to your podcast to learn. They can also listen to a podcast like mine, like the Web3CMO Stories podcast, which I invite people, from different backgrounds with different stories around NFTs, around blockchain, around metaverse. And so listen to podcasts. That helps. Of course, also, following a few influencers or a few people in the space on the social media that you like to use. It can be LinkedIn, can be Twitter, can be Instagram, can be something else, watching a few of those videos. And nothing helps more to learn than try something yourself. So try to get an NFT. Some NFTs are for free. Create a wallet, get an NFT for free, or invest a few pounds, euros, dollars in an NFT, not too much, and see how everything is working. That can help. And then we already mentioned it. If people really want to know more about this, they can join a mastermind like mine, or contact me for a free call, and I would be happy to see what's possible for them in the Web3 world.
Brilliant. And we will have your details at the bottom of the show notes, but do find Joeri online. And thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all that wealth of information about Web3. I hadn't a clue about most of it. I'm being honest here, guys. This is why we bring on these experts to tell us about the stuff that we don't know. So thank you again, Joeri, for being with us, and we'll be back next week for more Monday Morning Marketing. Until then, bye-bye.